Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look at a really unique collection of insights, stuff designed to help us navigate life's complexities and maybe even discover some unexpected joy.
Mm.
We've got excerpts from a book titled You Can Make Your Life Beautiful by Bo Sanchez.
Yeah, and this isn't your typical self-help book. You'll see that pretty quickly. It's actually a collection of articles. They originally appeared in a magazine called Karajima,
Right.
and they offer this, well, surprisingly simple but really profound path to happiness. So our mission today is kind of dig into these sources, pull out those powerful nuggets of wisdom,
Yeah,
and help you see how seemingly ordinary moments can hold, extraordinary lessons for a more beautiful life.
exactly. Think of it less about adding more to your plate and more about a shift in perspective.
Right.
We'll be exploring the author's really fascinating take on everything, from finding personal happiness, maybe in unexpected places, to the deepest kinds of love. And it's all woven through these incredibly relatable, real-life stories. So let's dive right in. There's this foundational idea from the author that might surprise you. It really challenges how we sometimes think about spirituality and joy.
Mm-hmm.
He calls out what he calls sour-faced saints. He even quotes St. Teresa of Avila saying, "From silly devotions and sour-faced saints, deliver us, Lord." What's going on there?
Well, the core idea here, I think, is his belief that God isn't some somber, distant figure. Not at all.
Okay.
In his view, God is actually the happiest being in this whole swirling universe. He imagines God laughing, singing, jumping, weeping for joy, even dancing.
Right.
I mean, God invented laughter and song and dance, right?
Yeah.
So if we're supposed to be close to such a joyful God, well, it really makes you ask, shouldn't some of that joy rub off on us?
That's a beautiful image. It really is. And it connects immediately to how we might think about our own happiness.
Mm-hmm.
The author shares this very vulnerable moment. He felt deeply depressed, battling everything from community conflicts to personal stuff, even dandruff and pimples.
Yeah, that makes it so real, doesn't it? Totally. And in that moment, that really low point, he describes this crazy question popping into his head, which he thinks came from God.
Okay.
Give me 5 reasons why you should be happy today. Now, apparently his first response was kind of humorous, bit cynical maybe,
Right.
but then he actually found genuine reasons. His relationship with God, his family, his work, the person he loved, real things.
And this wasn't just a one-time thing, which I think is important. He turned it into a daily practice.
Right.
Listing 5 things he was thankful for before bed. Didn't matter how small.
Yeah.
And the real takeaway here, for me anyway, is his realization that happiness isn't something out there you have to chase. It's a choice,
Yeah.
something you actively make, through daily gratitude.
Absolutely. And the bigger picture there is that enjoying life isn't just something that happens to you. It's a master skill, something we can actually cultivate.
Skill. I like that.
Yeah. He shares this moment overlooking Tall Lake, just appreciating the simple beauty. And he notes that he really doesn't need external things to be happy. He actually enjoys his own company, which is, well, pretty powerful.
It really is. I love that. And he challenges that common mindset, if I just get X, then I'll be happy.
Right, the trap.
Yeah, he calls it a rude awakening. He even lists his own simple conditions for happiness, things like breathing normally, heart pumping, sun shining.
The basics.
Exactly. Being able to smile, loving someone, knowing God loves him. He says he cheats on life by stacking the rules in his favor. So for someone listening, how might this idea resonate? Choosing simpler conditions for happiness, especially if maybe they feel their own conditions have gotten a bit complicated.
That's a great question. Look, his approach isn't about ignoring challenges. Not at all. It's more about recalibrating our internal compass, maybe. It suggests that if we build our happiness on things that are fundamental, things that are always present, rather than, fleeting external stuff.
We create a much more stable foundation. It really encourages us to look at what's already here right now as a source of joy.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so moving from that internal happiness, the author shares some deeply personal stories. Stories that really light up the impact of love and relationships.
Yeah.
He talks about his father, who, he says, was unsentimental, didn't express love through words, but by, quote, wasting enormous time with him. Jogging, walking, talking. That says a lot, doesn't it? Love is an action.
It really does. And this leads into one of the most poignant moments in the whole book, I think.
Okay.
After his father had this terrible accident, a fall, hit his head, blood clots, paralysis, severe pneumonia.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Wow.
The author whispered, "I love you, Dad." And for the very first time in his life, his father, who was barely conscious, reached out, like clasped his cheeks and gave him a hug.
Oh, wow.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, an incredibly powerful moment. A bond finally breaking through,
And what a moment. It really underlines the author's simple reminder. Hug someone today while there's time.
Yeah. And this theme, this active, heartfelt love, it extends to his advice for married men, too. He says when a wife says she's depressed, the first impulse might be to love her with your mind.
Mm-hmm. Try to fix it.
Right. Quote scripture, offer logical advice, which, let's be honest, can often backfire.
Oh, definitely. And the author wisely says, don't do that. Instead, love her with your heart.
Okay, what did that look like?
It means putting your arms around her, maybe stroking her hair, and just saying, it's okay, hon. Can you tell me why you're sad? I'm listening. The real insight here is that true presence, empathetic listening, that often means way more than any logical advice, especially in those vulnerable moments.
That makes so much sense. And this deep, active love, he says it's a constant pursuit. It's not a one-and-done thing.
No.
He tells this funny story about a couple where the husband hadn't actually said, I love you in 30 years.
Yeah. Said he'd let her know if he changed his mind.
Right. It just highlights how easily we can kind of neglect expressing those fundamental feelings.
Oh. And that story, yeah, it's funny, but it illustrates a critical point. In relationships, whether it's marriage or our spiritual life, you never graduate from Love's Academy.
Love's Academy.
Yeah, he compares it to reading the Bible. You don't just read it once and say, okay, done, boring now.
Right.
His view is that Christianity, at its heart, is primarily a relationship. And in relationships, I love you gets repeated 1,000,000 times. We stay students of love, always learning, always expressing.
And maybe one of the most moving examples of this, this unending commitment to love, is when the author decided to take in 6 orphans, siblings whose parents had died. And he admits he initially called it a big mistake. That's pretty raw.
It is, but here's where you see the transformation. He ate with them, prayed with them, read bedtime stories, and he found himself actually missing their noise and laughter when he was away. He realized his heart was, in his words, broken. Its pieces were in their little hearts. He felt like their prisoner. But paradoxically, he says, in this shattered condition of my heart, I've never felt so whole, so alive, so free. It became one of the most beautiful mistakes I've ever made.
That's incredible.
The powerful insight there is that true fulfillment, real joy, often comes from these unexpected, maybe self-sacrificing acts. They transform what looks like a burden into something profoundly beautiful.
So life throws challenges at us. That's inevitable, right? And the author uses this fantastic analogy, really relatable, from Manila traffic. He says you've got humps and potholes.
Ah, okay. Humps and potholes.
Yeah. You can plan for humps, those are the speed bumps, right? Designed to slow you down. But potholes, they just appear unannounced, and they hit you hard.
That's a brilliant way to frame it. It really is. Potholes are those sudden, unexpected problems. Could be anything, a bleeding hangnail or something huge like a cancer diagnosis or a child struggling with addiction.
Right.
They force you to stop. They make you think, reevaluate your values, often whether you want to or not.
And the humps.
Humps, on the other hand, are the deliberate pauses, the ones you create in your life. Daily prayer, maybe going to services, annual retreats.
The intentional slowing down.
Exactly. Times you choose to ask the big questions, not because you're forced to by a crisis, but because you're intentionally hitting the brakes.
So his advice is pretty simple, but profound. Take a lot of humps. Perhaps potholes won't come as often.
Proactive.
Yeah. And he applies this to himself. He talks about his own past as a self-proclaimed workaholic, head of multiple communities, publishing firms, ministries. He even admits he was kind of proud of this insane lifestyle.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap, isn't it? Measuring success by busyness.
Totally.
But the crucial insight he gained was realizing that workaholism was like a disease. An addiction, he says, to trying to win the love of people.
Oof, that hits home.
Yeah. He confessed he wasn't genuinely loving, wasn't really enjoying life, wasn't even feeling God's presence in the midst of all that activity. He finally understood that the fastest guy didn't win the race, but the guy who had the most love and joy and peace when he got to the finish line.
That really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From external achievement to internal state.
Completely.
And so he describes how he semi-retired, gave up like 80% of his responsibilities to other people who were better suited for them anyway. And this freed up time to really, really, really love. Which leads him to another big realization about finding our purpose. our primary gifts.
Right. What are we fundamentally made to do? He identifies himself as a communicator since he was a kid, telling jokes, drawing comics, writing stories. His very first talk, age 13, kind of set his path.
Wow, 13.
Yeah. So the lesson here is that by being true to that primary gift, that's where his sacred mission really is. And it's also where his deepest happiness lies.
So unload the other stuff.
He strongly advocates that. Unload work that isn't your primary gift because, as he puts it, the enemy of the best is the second best.
The enemy of the best is the second best.
Yeah. It's really an invitation for all of us, for you listening, to honestly think, what is my primary gift? And how could living that out fully lead me to my own sacred mission and, well, happiness?
That's a great question to ponder.
Yeah.
Okay, so the author then goes deeper into the spiritual side of things, especially around trust and authenticity. He shares a story about living without a salary for almost 3 years. He calls it a season of comfortable poverty. Sometimes literally went hungry. That sounds incredibly tough.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But he explains it this way. Seasons of famine are permitted by God to give us deepened trust.
Okay.
I mean, it's easy to say, I trust God when everything's going great, right?
Sure.
But true trust, he suggests, really shows up when your love boat has just capsized, when things fall apart. And he makes this really impactful point. Only God is not a season. All the hardships, all the abundance, they'll pass. But God alone endures. It's a powerful way to look at how trials can actually forge deeper faith.
That's a perspective shift. And this journey, this path of trust and self-discovery, it also includes learning to nurture your secret life.
Ah, the secret life.
Yeah. And he shares this truly memorable, maybe slightly gross story. His first chore in a celibate brotherhood, cleaning the toilet bowl with his bare hand for a year.
Wow. Okay, that's some serious humility training right there.
Right. And what's striking is the contrast he draws between his public life, the microphone, being a preacher, and his secret life, symbolized by that humble sponge. He says cleaning the toilet kept his pride in check. And leads to this vital question he poses. Character is who you are when no one's looking. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How is your secret life? Who are you in the mundane, the unspectacular routines? He actually believes God will reward him for cleaning that toilet with love in his heart, maybe even more than for his public preaching.
That's a profound thought to just sit with for a moment.
Yeah. And finally, the author challenges us to good ads for God.
Good advertisements. Okay.
Tells a story about a woman who just publicly lambasted her husband to him, described him as sin-infested, vice-ridden, devil-possessed, just tearing him down.
Yikes. And what did he do?
Well, this brings up a really important lesson. Instead of jumping in and agreeing or condemning, the author actually praised the husband for caring for his wife. And even whispered to the husband, like, hey, we can pray for your wife's transformation.
Wow, it's turning it around.
Exactly. He reflects on how many people don't come closer to God because of what he calls lousy advertisements. Human beings, maybe Christians, who just condemn, judge, boast.
Right, pushing people away instead of drawing them in. It highlights the power of our example, doesn't it, over just words.
Totally. He says he prefers to be a dolphin, not a shark.
A dolphin, not a shark. I like that.
Yeah. Knocking on neighbors' doors with fruit or cookies. Sharing these small acts of kindness to let them have a tangible experience of God's sweet love without hearing one word first. It's such a gentle approach, but really impactful.
It beautifully sums up his message, I think. Only love heals. Only love nourishes. Only love makes community. Being a good advertisement means truly living out that love authentically, not just talking about it. It's about building bridges, not walls.
So as we start to wrap up this deep dive, it feels clear that making your life beautiful, according to these insights, isn't really about grand gestures or, perfect circumstances.
No, not at all.
It's much more about a series of conscious choices, shifts in perspective that can transform the ordinary into something extraordinary, all seen through this lens of love and connection.
Yeah, the author really reminds us again and again that happiness is a choice we make inside, that relationships are maybe our most sacred treasure, and that every trial, every pothole can hold a hidden treasure if we're willing to look. He consistently challenges us, doesn't he, to be authentic in our secret lives, the toilet cleaning moments,
Right.
and to be genuine advertisements for the love we believe in, mostly through how we act.
So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening right now Maybe it's about rediscovering some simple joy in daily life,
Hmm.
or choosing love even when it's hard or unexpected.
Yeah, or maybe it's about intentionally slowing down, taking more humps to nurture that deep connection with yourself, with others, with the divine, or perhaps really stepping more fully into your unique primary gifts.
Hmm.
And, to bring us full circle, that incredibly moving story he shares about losing his baby daughter, Angel.
Ah, yes.
It just profoundly illustrates how God answers prayer, but his way. They prayed for a happy child. And though they never got to cradle her in their arms on earth, he truly believes she now cradles us in your arms of prayer and mentions their names before God in heaven. It powerfully conveys this idea. You were never with us, and yet will always be with us. It's a message that somehow transcends loss, pointing to this deeper, enduring connection.
That's beautiful. So maybe a final thought for your own reflection today. What simple, beautiful truth from all this are you ready to just loiter on, as the author might say? To really embrace it, let it sink in, and maybe allow it to lead you to create wonderful things, or perhaps just point to areas of your soul that need a little repair and realignment.